one. Little pointer. Oh, baby.
Oh,
Sunday here for basketball, boys.
That's right.
Basketball's on the menu. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the pregame show.
Let's go.
Presented by Bet365. Never ordinary. Certainly not on a Sunday afternoon. Usually you're watching football. Broncos off today. No point in watching football. Only slightly different than when they're on. But we do have a nice little early evening game between, I'm going to go ahead and say it, the two best teams in the Western Conference.
Whoa. That's right.
Well, I mean, statistically, like the record-wise, according to the record. The Nuggets in Houston taking on the Rockets. And boys, as I've been preparing for the show and studying the Houston Rockets all the way up, top to bottom, I'm starting to think, what is it they're trying to become? And then it hit me. They're trying to become the Denver Nuggets.
Well, who wouldn't want to be the NBA champions?
Well, I mean, the LA Clippers. They're trying to they see what the Nuggets do and go the exact opposite direction.
Yeah, that's a good
point.
point.
The Houston Rockets have some similarities to the Denver Nuggets, and maybe that is not such a coincidence. And at the heart of that is Alperen Şengün, who might be our very first Jokic clone. A guy who is trying to be Jokic. Not just has some crossover, but is actually trying. We're going to talk about that. We're going to make some bets. We're going to have some fun. To help me with all of that, especially the fun part, Brett and Vote.
Man, something was off the last few days. Like, it was nice to have a little time off.
What was it?
It hit me today.
What is it?
I was missing the Nuggets, man. I was missing Nuggets basketball. What's better? It's Sunday night. It feels like a Friday night because we get to watch the Denver Nuggets together.
It's so true, man. It is so true. 4 days off. Never do that to us again, Nuggets.
Oh,
I know.
God.
Over here, I got Harrison Wind.
I was cool with it. Now I feel recharged, feel ready to go. We're done with the first segment of the regular season. Now we can start the second. I'm good, man. I didn't mind the time off.
I think you're right here. I did miss the Nuggets, but I am rejuvenated and ready for them again. Over there, Superstar Dev.
I could use a nap.
What?
I could
You
use a
didn't
nap.
happen.
That's
That's
kind of
the
his
last 4 days.
You know,
perpetual
like
state.
talk about rejuvenate. Some of us are rejuvenated. Some of us are, enjoying the break. I just want a nap. That's all I would have loved.
I think you want a nap, break or no break.
Stay on
But I'm
brand.
ready. I'm ready for tonight's game.
So the Houston Rockets come into this matchup 5-3, but owners of the Western Conference top winning streak, 5 games. Harrison, what do you have for us?
They have won 5 in a row after losing their first few of the season. They've beaten the Kings twice, the Lakers, and the Pelicans.
Those are good teams.
So some decent wins in there for sure. And the story of the Rockets has been their defense, actually. Their offense has been solid, but they're 7th in defense right now. And I believe 1 spot behind the Nuggets in the defensive rating leaderboard.
It's that Jeff Green effect.
They're 11th in offense. Well, funny enough, man, I'll get to that in a second, but people are talking about Jeff Green.
People are talking.
Houston's entire starting 5 right now, guys. Jalen Green, Fred VanVleet, Alperen Şengün, Jabari Smith, Dillon Brooks. They're all averaging at least 13 points per game.
Man,
They're spreading it around.
Yeah.
They're playing real basketball.
what a team effort.
Yeah. Şengün shooting 62% from the floor. Jalen Green's kind of honed in his shot selection a little bit. He's at 45% from the field, 42% from 3. And Jeff Green, fellas. Jeff Green, I go on the internet the other day. I'm seeing clips of Jeff Green switching defense and like people going crazy about it.
Oh man.
2023?
Honest question here. Honest question, because we love Jeff. He did a great personality. He deserves a lot of credit. He played big minutes in the playoff run. I'm not trying to disparage him. But did anybody in the Jokic era stock go up more than Jeff Green's?
Maybe Bruce Brown.
Yeah, Bruce Brown made the money because he's a little bit younger. But honestly, like Jeff Green, the way people are talking about him is he's like the greatest veteran player and presence that's ever come through the
I'm
league.
seeing viral clips of Jeff Green switching 1 through 5.
There was a lot of
Viral.
They lost Bruce Brown and Jeff Green. And like much respect to Jeff, but that sentence was a bit.
But then you look
Jeff's
at the
played
Rockets.
in every game for them, averaging 14 minutes, 6 points, 3 rebounds per game.
What? It's like
3
a career
rebounds
high.
per game.
Could you give me those
14
stats
minutes.
one more time? I just got to hear it.
6 points, 3 rebounds in
Wow.
14 minutes per game.
What the heck is he doing?
Just switching.
Crashing
a lot
the
of, a lot of
glass?
switching on defense.
Aerodynamically, he's
Yeah,
improved.
that's true. That is true. You see
Maybe
how
he's
bald he
trying
is?
to coach up Alperen Şengün to be the next Nikola Jokic.
Man, you know what? That would be an interesting development.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Also for the Rockets, they got a couple minor injuries. Amon Thompson, Victor Oladipo out. Jamal Murray, Vlatko Čančar are out for the Nuggets. Everybody else should be good to go.
I'm a huge fan of the Thompson twins, man. I mean,
They're out. He's out.
Well,
He's out,
Amen
yeah.
Thompson's out. Yeah, he's only played in 2 games. I think.
Yeah.
He hasn't played
He's
very much.
got an ankle injury.
But I just like the mold of player, and maybe some of this is like watching more Oscar Thompson and then projecting it on Tommen. You know, I'm probably doing a little bit of that. But I like Oscar Thompson, man. Really smart, plays hard,
Yeah, he's good.
unselfish. He just has no jumper. I mean, the guy has like the ugliest touch you've ever seen in your life, which
Yeah.
is like, if it weren't for that, he'd be a superstar. But I love their game. And nothing else in the notes here.
That's all I got.
Dev, who are we keeping our eye out for today? Who are you watching?
Şengün, of course. You're talking about for the Rockets, right?
I was just talking about in general. Usually I would ask about the Nuggets, like who is a guy that you're, like who are the Nuggets guys?
You always
that
say the
step up?
matchup. That's why
All
I
right,
went
the
with
matchup
the other
Şengün,
one.
Jokic. Then.
Yeah,
Maybe it's
the
Şengün, Jokic.
matchup is usually what we go with.
Yeah, there is a segment coming up on that, but yeah, we can go ahead.
Yeah,
right
so
away.
if we're
Dev
gonna
just
go
woke
with
up from a nap.
if we're gonna go with like the Nuggets players, like somebody that I want to see, Reggie Jackson. He just continues to be the guy
That's
for
a
me
great
that I want to
answer.
see if he continues to play at this level, especially against a young running gun type of team that now is like all defensive. Like I want to see if he can run that unit and continue with his stellar play because that's been the difference.
And think about this: their backcourt tonight is going to be Fred VanVleet, who's tiny, like Reggie's too big for him, and Jalen Green, who's not exactly a stopper.
Yeah.
So this is an opportunity. And then with Yoke and Bragg and Şengün out, this should be an opportunity for the paint to be open and for the guards in particular to score. So I kind of feel like he's a key guy tonight for sure. What about you?
Michael Porter Jr., but not just not just is he going to play well. I think I really like the playmaking feels strong, but you guys know what I mean. The ball movement is looking better, and actually, yes, some playmaking and looking to find his own shot by cutting and by passing, relocating the give and go out of his shot specifically, which we're big fans of. Just generally the way he's playing. So play defense, rebound, keep the ball moving. The rest will take care of itself. But he's just playing at a high level right now, and just hope it keeps going in those specific areas. I was going to say Reggie Jackson, but Dev too.
Christian Brown, do we want to stay on brand here?
No. I am interested to see what he does tonight.
Well,
but
now that you mentioned it,
it's Nikola Jokic for me, though. It particularly starts with him tonight, though, because I think this is going to be a tough game for the Nuggets. This just feels like a game that's going to be closer than maybe it should be. But a reason that the Nuggets can impose their will tonight will be if Nikola Jokic comes out and just takes this game really seriously. Like, if he sets the tone tonight, I think the Nuggets could roll. If he comes into this game a little lackadaisical, I think it could be a closer game. So how does he come out against Alperen Şengün, who's talked about how, he's patterned his game after Nikola Jokic. He looks up to him. How do the Nuggets come out against this young upstart Rockets team that's going to try to push the ball down the floor? And Jokic, to me, if he sets the tone tonight, the Nuggets are going to win.
Yoke definitely had that look in his eye the last 2 games, game and a half, of like, dang it. Maybe it's like Murray's out, and now the mountain that he was climbing got even taller, and he looked like he was a little grouchy. So, 4 days off is a lot. Maybe it is just fatigue, but I'm with you where I feel like I'm going to read in a lot to this game from Jokic. If he comes out like he did, emotionally, just kind of aggressive and all these different things, I'm going to be like, okay, he needed a little rest, good to go, Nuggets back. I don't even know if they'll notice Murray being out.
Yeah.
But if tonight he looks a little just like frustrated, I do wonder if it's going to be like, man, this is coming early for game number 10 of the year, and now he's starting to get there, which he was in the last couple games, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm gonna lean. I mean, we'll see together. I'm gonna lean towards he really saw that break as light at the end of the tunnel.
I think so.
It really looks like he was playing as if I can just get there, and I think a few days off he'll be okay. And I also think they are capable of playing more Nuggets basketball without Jamal. We've seen it in the past. That last game was clunky, but they can play Jokic's beautiful game more than they did. So I'm not too worried about that, but I definitely, he's gonna start shooting 6-7 threes again, and that's not a good sign. So the Rockets are coached by Udoka here, and they're gonna be tryhards all season long. Whether they're good or bad, they're gonna be relentless, I think. So this has to be one of those games where you have the energy from the jump, because if you don't, you'll be on your back foot early.
My answer will probably be Christian Brown, but let me first just say,
Oh, thanks.
Dillon Brooks for you. You're welcome. Dillon Brooks on Aaron Gordon. I don't know that this is a good matchup for Dillon Brooks just because he likes to stop a guy on ball. Aaron Gordon's low usage. Like, if you're going to go all the way out and guard him, like, Denver will just go away from Aaron Gordon. You know, that's actually a good thing. So, for me, I do wonder if that – so is Dillon Brooks going to be more in help? Is he going to be more just trying to stop? I'm kind of curious to see how that one goes and if Aaron Gordon, you know, how he handles that matchup. But Christian Brown, to me, is a guy that hurt himself in the preseason, missed a lot of it, and then has not been – offensively has not looked any different. In fact, if you wanted to put it one direction or the other, he's maybe looked a little worse than he did last year on offense. This was, in my mind, a reset for him, and it starts tonight. Can he knock down some shots, find out where he fits into the offense, and start making more consistent offensive plays? So you thought I was crazy for my Dillon Brooks comment.
No, I was just thinking about it. If Dillon Brooks is guarding Aaron Gordon, oh, my goodness. That is going to be a long day for him. He is going to attack him every single time. Aaron Gordon's just way too big for him, way too physical.
He's a pretty big guy.
Yeah, but he's not Aaron Gordon big.
Yeah.
Like, he's not that type of guy. I think that they're going to try to have Dillon Brooks chase. If they have him on, that's my thing. Houston is small. They're a lot smaller than Denver.
That's a good point, man.
And if you have that Dillon Brooks, Aaron Gordon should feast in this type of matchup. So
who would it be? Jabari Smith, too small, way too skinny.
And that's your MPJ cover, right?
That's your
Probably.
MPJ cover, and then you've got the tiny. It's not Fred VanVleet. It's not going to be Jalen Green.
They're going to have a rough one.
So I think it's going to be those
Could have a
matchups will be
Miami
interesting.
Heat situation on our
We
hands.
might have early on. But guys, the Jokic Şengün matchup is interesting. Somebody posted on the timeline earlier that Jokic's high over the last 3 times he's matched up with Şengün and the Rockets is 14 points. Now, they've won some of these games. So
They won one of those in like a 30-point blowout.
And a 30-point blowout. So some of this is like a little bit of noise. Şengün gets up for this one. And I always think back to Şengün's first matchup against Jokic. Do you remember it? Where after the game, he posted a picture of the Spider-Man meme and being like, me and Jokic.
Yeah.
Clearly, this dude wants to be Jokic. Like, he admires him.
His
But
Instagram was just pictures of him and Jokic on the floor at the same time.
this was the most admiration we've seen. And yet, it didn't necessarily seem reciprocated. Who knows? But Jokic, I just remember, you know, like, I've always seen this with Kobe or different, when players come in and they want to, like, you know, it's like your first time after the game, you want to dap up, and Kobe will give him a little of this, that. Jokic kind of dismissed him, I almost felt. Like, kind of like, you know.
You're no DeAndre Ayton, buddy.
Yeah, like, so I don't know. But nonetheless, you've got Sabonis. You've got maybe like a Plumlee and a Hartenstein. I know Plumlee came before. You have a Hartenstein. You've got Bam Adebayo. You've got some of these bigs that have gone out and started to do.
Hartenstein's a little rough inclusion in there, gotta say.
I mean, he passes the ball. I'm just saying.
Okay.
And he was Jokic's understudy and said that he learned a lot from him. He, by his own admission, has tried to become Jokic, whether he succeeded or not. That's an inspiration. But all of those guys, to me, fill the same category of guys that see Jokic doing things and don't have the talent for it. Şengün, to me, is the first guy that actually does. I'm not saying he's as good, but I'm saying that he actually has the skills that Jokic has to some degree, and he's trying to copy. To me, Şengün is our very first true Jokic clone.
Absolutely. Like, he's a guy that you could throw it to him and operate the offense around him. It's not just straight playmaking, but it's like understanding where guys should be. Understanding that as a big man, you could also be the guard. So, like, that is the difference. Those other guys that you named, they're just good passers. But they don't have, like, the actual skill set. They don't have the ability to destroy you inside and out, and also with the playmaking. So, like, he is the closest, especially with, like, the body and everything like that. So, Şengün is baby Jokic, and I feel like everybody gets that name if you're a big man that can pass.
For sure. And now Houston's running their stuff through him way more. Last year, Şengün was getting thrown under the bus by the coaching staff, by some of the players on that team. Now they're actually playing real basketball, and they've kind of aligned everything more towards him in a similar way to the Nuggets originally aligning things around Nikola Jokic. So I think from that perspective, they've set him up to potentially be, the focal point of everything they do.
And it's funny you mentioned the new coach, because I think he's been this guy. Like, when you just look at the young guys, who is the number one? It's kind of tough because none of them have been, like, perfect. But the old coach, Jalen Green. New coach, Alperen Şengün.
It's almost like watching Jokic in the All-Star game a little bit. Like, this is not a guy who is going to thrive in that prior environment. Just watching guys take tough dribble jumpers early in the shot clock, having to run up and down the floor, and sort of having everything he does well mitigated. And then it's like, okay, well, you're not Clint Capella. Thanks for coming. But now it's, okay, we're going to play to your strengths. And there is something to there. I mean, Jokic is one of one. We all know this. But playmaking from the big man is huge, and just what it does to the geometry of the court, what it does to their big, the pressure it puts on them, what it allows guys to do, just cutting off ball, the way it can simplify your offense. It's a really cool. Like, I don't think you're going to see a lot of Jokic's come through the league, but you can see bigs put an emphasis on playmaking, and teams try to get the most out of that. And I do think that could be Jokic's sort of legacy in terms of impact.
It's been the playmaking, but also the scoring with Sengun. He's been incredibly efficient this season. I believe there's only 3 players shooting above 65% from 2-point range on 75-plus attempts so far. It's Nikola Jokic, LeBron James, and Alperen Şengün. So he's dialed in from 2-point range. He's been really efficient around the rim. Overall, I think he's above 60% from the field. So he's got the playmaking. He's got the efficiency as well. And it seems like he's got, a really high basketball IQ too.
He's got a big body too. Like,
Yeah.
he's more athletic than Jokic by a lot.
Yeah.
Well, that's not saying much. Jokic's not very athletic in terms of jumping or whatever. But Alperen Şengün, while he is more athletic and can dunk on you and this that, he's a big body. He's a wide body, and I feel like when you look at him, he's 21 years old. I would not be surprised especially if he admires Jokic the way he seems to, doesn't look at that and go, okay, I need to become the strongest guy in the NBA, or at least in the running for it. And he can also have that. Whereas you look at a Bam Adebayo, that's he can pass, he can play outside, but he's always going to be an undersized, smaller type of guy. Also, none of you guys heard this? Sengun apparently grew this summer.
I did hear that. I didn't think it was true though.
Oh, allegedly he's 6'11". I was listed at 6'10". I do love. This is better than the Muscle Watch.
Right.
Like, Muscle Watch, everybody gains 10 pounds, but very rarely can you also gain an inch.
Yeah, we're gonna have to wait for the Rockets to come into town so you can.
With
size
muscle
them up.
watch, you kind of show your muscle. Like, what do you do on the inch? Do you stretch out or anything? Like, how do you show that?
There's probably some really rich, expensive massage that gives you an extra inch, like
I actually do
lengthens
think
your torso.
Good, like PTs and chiropractors can get a half inch.
Yeah, you can
I
probably
think
get a
it's
half inch
possible.
out of most people.
Do you think that would help me? So I think Sengun, I know he's actually tall, and he's still only 21. One big difference, and this is the thing that I always take for granted for Jokic, is he does not strike me like he's ever going to be quite as strong and powerful as Jokic. Now, he's young. He can grow into that body, but that's always on top of everything else, Jokic is a mountain. So there are these little differences, but
I'd say Jokic's a polar bear. Sengun maybe could be a grizzly bear.
Sure.
He's a black bear at the moment.
yeah, I like that one.
You
I
like
like that
that?
one.
Yeah,
That's good.
see?
That works for me. But I'm a fan of this guy and watching him play.
Yeah. It doesn't stop there, though, guys. If we look at this roster, let's just go top to bottom. All right, Fred VanVleet, there's no nugget that's like
Monte
that.
Morris.
Monte Morris, sure. But if we go to Jalen Green, look, what should Jalen Green become? He probably should become a pick and roll point guard or scoring guard type player. He has not been that. He has not been in that mold, but he's a good off the dribbles 3-point shooter. He's got great footwork in terms of going downhill. He should be aiming to become a Jamal Murray-esque in that mold of player. And I think that, honestly, you talked about Ime Udoka. I think he's going to mold him into more of you're not good enough for us to ISO you as much as you have been for the previous 2 years. You need to learn to play within the system, read the court, and pick your spot. So to me, I actually see a Murray, Jalen Green potential if that's what he tries to become. If you go to the 3, Jabari Smith, 6'10" shooter, skinny, great stroke, high release, moves off ball. All right, that sounds a lot like Michael Porter. Dillon Brooks, all right, undersized as he might be, he is an Aaron Gordon-esque defensive player, dirty, do the dirty work. And then, of course, Sengun. So to me, I look at this and I go, if you just gave them a Gary Harris or something like this would be a total B version of the Nuggets.
Yeah.
And you also got to give credit to Udoka right now because he has them playing way different. I looked at the standings. I could not believe that they were not at the bottom. I'm always so used to seeing them all the way down there.
I know.
Also, with the guys that they have, like you talked about, Sengun was getting all the negative press last year, and now they're running the offense through him. Jalen Green was shooting the ball every single time that he touched it. Now he's kind of playing the right way, and he's efficient, a lot more efficient. Dillon Brooks, he's allowing him to just be him. You want to be a villain? Just go be that on the defensive end. Don't do too much on offense, and that's actually opened up his game. And then VanVleet was shooting the ball every single time he touched it as well. So, like, they're playing the right way. But, again, it is because of that the Nuggets mode of just you playing the right way and trying to get the best out of every single player. And that starts with running your offense through your big man who can set the table.
So many ways Malone and Udoka remind me of each other, both on and off the court. Let's list them. All right, that was a joke.
Hopefully more on the court than off.
I don't know, man. Udoka, very intense, like no excuses.
Yeah.
This is the thing I always say about the Celtics. They went from a coach that demanded intensity and discipline and all these types of things, and they made it to the finals.
About the second thing everyone thinks when they think of Udoka.
Well,
so the Rockets,
that's murky waters for us to get
The
into.
Rockets, to me, remind me of where the Nuggets were in 2017, 2018.
Sure.
Where they had this
it's a while
young
back.
team, so much talent. You could see the vision. You could see the future, the path to get there. But they need to start playing real basketball. Nuggets went out and got Paul Millsap. The Rockets went out and got Fred VanVleet and Dillon Brooks.
Right.
Those two signings, to me,
That's a great take.
are pretty much equivalent to the Nuggets getting Paul Millsap. And it seems like the effect that those guys are having might be similar to the effect Paul Millsap had in Denver.
One thing I had heard, and just talking to different people, is that Sengun, Jalen Green, Kevin Porter is now out, gone. But maybe not everybody liked each other. That there was a little bit of a power struggle there. And sometimes, again, you get a new leader in there, and Udoka makes things a little bit more, hey, this is how we play. I don't care if you guys like each other. This is the pecking order. And you're still going to make your money. Like, we all know this. Jalen Green, you could still be a max contract guy within being a number two or being part of a duo as opposed to the team just being around you. So it can make it work. But that's one thing I always thought about them was Jalen Green was in before Sengun. It'd be weird if Murray was in before Jokic. I just wonder how that would have unfolded. But It is what it is. This team's good. Let's go now to the Bet365 sports betting app. I'm curious, Dev, because you felt, when we were talking earlier, you felt very confident in this game.
Very confident. I love so many things about this game. Let's start here. Denver comes in as 4.5-point favorites. And Houston's hot right now, 5 in a row. And again, not seeing them at the bottom of that list, that is insane, like, to me, like, that they're playing that well. It's early in the season. I do think things will turn around. It probably starts tonight. Denver's going to win by 4.5.
You're taking the money.
I am taking the money. 4.5, yes.
Okay.
The over-under in this game is 216.5. I feel like that's too low, especially
Slowest paced team in the NBA, Houston Rockets.
especially with the way that Denver will be able to score with ease.
They're really taking after the Nuggets with that.
I know.
Yeah,
they're
really
two
are.
of the 4 slowest teams.
They're trying to slow things down. I don't think that works. So I'm going to go over 216.5.
I'm just following Dev today.
Houston's best player, Sengun. I'm glad that they finally realized that. He gets up for these games against Jokic. Like, he has admiration for Jokic, so he is going to try to play well. They have no other big option, so I think he plays a little bit of extra minutes. Every time Jokic's out there, he has to be out there. I like his points, rebounds, and assists at over 30. Let's throw the under on Jalen Green. I just don't think that that's going to happen. KCP ain't allowing it. There's other guys that couldn't get that. It won't be Jalen Green. Now into Denver, where it matters. Jokic can do whatever he wants, and he has been. I feel like with a young team, you can send double teams, and you could convince your guys that double teaming a guy is okay. I think that other guys are going to say, no, I'm going to give it a try. I think that they're going to double team him tonight. So I like Jokic over on assist.
Okay. 9.5?
Yep. 9.5, and it's plus money. Plus money.
I like this too. I actually like it a lot.
With that means he's going to get a triple-double. So you might as well add the triple-double. If he's going to get 9.5 assists, we know the rebounds are coming. We know the points are coming. So the triple-double as well.
Guys got to make their shots today.
Speaking of making their shots, I'm going to give me the over 1.5 3-pointers for KCP. He's going to have the ability, if they're sending double teams, it's likely going to come from him.
I don't like the juice on it.
Him and Aaron Gordon is going to be the ones that have to do that. I'm going to go with KCP's over. I like his over 1.5 steals as well. Young team, I think that they're just going to throw the ball away. So I think that's
KCP's got a steal in every game this year, right?
Got a steal in every game. I like the
He's
over.
got 1.5 though?
Well, some games he's gotten 2, I think.
But I'm saying we're taking 1.5.
We're taking 1.5.
All right, I'll do it. I'm in.
Over 27.5 points, rebounds, and assists for Aaron Gordon. He's going to have a monster first half, watch, because they're just going to be like, hey, there's no way Dillon Brooks should be guarding him. And I think they're going to have to try to find some other option. We're going to see Jeff Green on Aaron Gordon, I think. Over 27.5 points, rebounds, and assists. It's almost a lock for me. I think that he's going to hit that.
Okay.
But the lock Lock of the game, one you should take full advantage of until they realize that it's just way too low. Aaron Gordon rebounds. It's just been hitting every single time. They keep putting it at like 7, 8. He's been averaging like 11 rebounds lately.
Okay.
So I'm going to go with that over 7.5 rebounds for Aaron Gordon.
Over 7.5. I'm in on every bet you said. I think -1. I can't remember which one it was. You know what bet I want to throw out there that I don't know if I really believe it, but I just want to root for it today.
What's that?
Christian Brown 0.5 threes. The guy has not been shooting well. Gets 4 days off. If ever there was a time, he's going to get an opportunity. Tonight, all you need is one. It's plus 150. It's literally a bet that you just, once it goes in, you hit it. So I'm taking it. It's a fun one. It's plus 150. So you get good return on this investment.
Once it goes in, you do hit it, but it's got to go in.
That's saying that's all it's got to do. You don't like it?
No, I don't like it because if he misses it, if he goes 0 of 1, I don't know if he's taking another. You know? So he's kind of got to hit the first one.
Got to hit it.
But he could hit it.
By the way, yesterday at practice, Michael Malone went and watched his daughter play volleyball, so he wasn't at practice yesterday. But Adam and I asked him about Zeke Naji not taking more threes because he's only taken 4 threes all year. Yeah. And he says it's by design. And he gave a very interesting answer about why. Obviously, he likes the way that Zeke is rolling. He's wanting him to roll. He said he's doing everything we're asking of him right now. Him not taking threes is not about anything bad. Right, and then he mentioned the weak side. They're having a player in the corner. If you have a player in the corner, there's not always or having them lift and somebody on that side, not an empty corner, meaning nobody's over there, then there's not as much space for him to pick and pop. He says he thinks it might come later in the year, but apparently that's by design. So Zeke Naji, I think the team not having him necessarily explore his three-pointer right now.
Right. They just want him to be pick and roller.
Just pick and roller. So take that for what you will.
So
Nuggets,
don't
Rockets.
bet on Zeke Naji threes.
Don't bet on Zeke Naji threes. Bet on Christian Brown threes.
Yeah.
He's taking them. He's just not making them.
Yeah.
But he's going to make them tonight.
It's going to be a fun game, man.
It is going to be a fun game. This is a good one for the Nuggets. They've got this game. They've got the Clippers. And then who do they have on Friday? Do you remember? It's a tournament game. Is it the Pelicans? I think it's the Pelicans.
They are in their group.
That's 3 really good games this week for the Nuggets. They got a little bit of a breather. They only play 2 games in 3, and then they get a little break. I'm kind of excited to see. Denver can 9-1. Is that what they are? 8-1? 8-1 is good. But you have a chance here to make kind of a statement here against 3 teams that consider themselves, in the top half, although the Clippers probably shouldn't. But it'll be a good one. Starts tonight. We'll see what they do. Everybody, hit that like button on the way out. We'll see you on the other side.
We all silly like the mayor.